What is going on, people? I'm gonna go ahead and go through the end of KvK that we did. Now, we didn't do a normal method, if you will, like what most people did. What we actually did is about an hour and 30 minutes before, we picked a spot between the forts that we were gonna try to cap, which in this case was, of course, the base, and then the range HP fort and the range attack fort. And what we did is we kind of ported somewhere in between all three, and we all huddled up together and did a 1 hour rally instead of like the 10-minute, etc. And what that does is it gives you not only enough time to fill, but it makes you be able to try to get your sigils as high as possible, your T4, T5 count as high as possible, and also it gives you the chance to make sure that you get as many people in as you can. That way you can distribute the losses and try to time it as good as possible. Now, here's the best way usually to go about it, is just having a timer join your rally, and then when it's your time to walk, you release it, right? Now, the way I did this is I actually had two emulators up, one with this screen right here, and then the other one watching the fort and watching the timer there. And then knowing my walk time, all I have to do is just kick this army back to match the walk time and the fort time. And then doing it like this, right, there's a couple of pros. First of all is you can make sure that you kind of get away from the frostwing shenanigans and anything in between, because once you're walking, right? The other good thing is that if you do mess up the timing, you have the capability of just canceling and restarting it and kind of recalculating, right? So if you mess up too bad, you still have time to reset, whereas if you set at the end, you don't have time to do that. The bad thing though is that it is an 18-minute walk time, so somebody can take over the fort, take a look at what you're sending, and then try to reset or try to counter you. But usually when it's going to be highly contested and there's going to be multiple rallies, you probably shouldn't be trying to counter one person specifically, because who knows if you're even going to be able to hit that person. So either way, the other way that you can go about it is getting different timers. And what you can do is, if those rally leads aren't on an emulator or they're on their phone, etc., trying to time it specifically is a lot harder on a phone and only one device. So what we did is that we set two different timers on the two other rallies. And what I was gonna do is I was gonna go ahead and kick the timer from the guild. And what that's gonna do is it automatically launched the rally without the rally leader actually doing anything. So because I had two emulators, two screens, etc., and can keep an eye on everything, I went ahead and said, okay, well, we can go ahead and get two different timers, and then we can go ahead and just kick the timers when the time comes, and then I can handle the timing from there. So there goes the first. I will say this, kicking a timer from the rally is definitely much quicker than actually kicking an account, because there seems to be a bit of a delay once you kick it. So there's also that you have to keep in mind. There is also, since I watched these timers so many times, there is a couple of times where the timers would literally go 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, and you're like, wait a minute, like, how did you go that fast all of a sudden? So it kind of like, sometimes it skips a second or half a second, etc., and you're like, what, how did that happen? So either way, those were a couple of ways that we went ahead and kind of avoided the frostwing shenanigans, because you know there's a bunch of frostwings flying around. Speaking of which, there was one right there. And this one was towards the K in TWK, and that absolutely destroyed his timing. And that's what I mean. We don't care, because at this point, we're already walking. You can do whatever you want, but that rally is going to hit. Look at this. 17 minutes on that rally now, when there's only like 6 minutes or so, right? So that's what we were trying to avoid by starting early and walking early. You avoid this. Now, here's the problem though. My timing on the fort or the base was actually off, because there was about a second delay on when I kicked the account to where it actually left the guild and the rally walked. So we were still about a second and a half off from the base. So even if your rally isn't timed correctly, as long as you do the math right, you can set up carpets to where you can hit at the same time. So unfortunately for me on this one, on Frozen 4, I was about half a second, maybe a second early, and that's not something you can really carpet, not a second, but 2 seconds where we were on the base, you can actually do that. You can go ahead and use a 25% at 5 seconds, and it'll shave off the time needed. So that's what we end up doing. Now here comes the clash. There was 3 guilds against me, 1DB, TWK, and Flow, and one of them doesn't even hit 1DB, and then Flow hits first, I hit second, TWK hits right after me, but they do not get it. And if you take a look at the forts that we get the ones that we were aiming for: the base, ranged attack, in range defense, and max HP. So we got exactly what we wanted. So let's go ahead and take a look at these hits, right? The first one was interesting because this, as I came to find out, was actually a range blast, which was probably the wrong blast. And then we have this one, 4 million against 2.2, and I win. Now I'm thinking, ain't no way that I won. Like, even if it was a blast and I counter it, ain't no way that I won. Like, what happened to this TWK rally? Ain't no way. Okay, so it was mixed. So I'm thinking, how? Like, yeah, our T5 count was much higher, but oh. He didn't send the leader. Well, that's not gonna make the highlight reel. Oh boy. Well, there's another lesson for you guys. Send your leader. That's kind of important as a rally lead, you know. And then Fox went ahead and actually black winged, which again on TWK. Ouch! About 2 million dead there. Yeah. So TWK did not have a great time at the forts. I believe we walked away with the 2 forts and the base. WDG got 1, and I believe Eagles had another one. I think Flow got the other 2 forts. So essentially, we walked out with most of the forts except for 2. So all in all, a successful end to KvK. But let's go ahead and take a look at all of the hits. So the last hit was Spartan on Dr. Drunk Dad, which was basically the last second hit on the base. And shout outs to Vandy for using that 25% right on time on the base fort, because that's what it's ended up actually giving us that win, because my timing was off by about a second or 2. But yeah, if you take a look at most of the clashes, Wicco was hit out by Dr. Drunk Dad, but that's right after Wicco hit out DK from Team TWK. And you guys know that a lot of times at the base, it could be a lot of like random as far as who hits who and when. But I'm sure that the base, definitely not everybody hit at the right time. So that's why you see all these different things. Yeah, for the most part, we walked away with most of the things that we wanted. One big one here that a lot of people were definitely looking for was Prince versus Nightmare. I was told that he said that Nightmare had to uninstall or something, or he was terrible at the game or something like that. So, oops on that one. And then of course, that's the one that I hit first. And everything else was just like, okay, who timed it the best? Who did this? Who did that? I actually did not even know that I was not in the base rally, because we already had 100% sigils and full and all that, so I guess I never bothered. But here's what the last hit on the base looked like. Spartan wanted to black wing, but I guess he forgot. And also, I was told that there are a couple of hits that probably will not see the light of day unless I show it. So I'm gonna go ahead and show it here, because oh, that's not a good look. There's the Nightmare and Prince hit, which not a great look either. And then not only that, Nightmare held off the other rally from 1DB right after. So my goodness, he definitely ate on that one. But yeah, y'all know how it is in this YouTube platform and social media in general, right? We show the good things, but don't really want to show the bad things, and kind of create our own little narrative that we want people to follow. Yeah, that's always fun. But yeah, appreciate you guys for coming through, and until later, bye.